so long is like alchemy.
The land feels a little bit different this time around. Be the fight. They may have lost LeBron, but they gained the young superstar in LaMelo Ball playing his senior year of high school in Ohio. I'm messing around, y'all. Colin Sexton, my pick for Rookie of the Year. Chetty Osman, Tristan Thompson. It's a weird group. I'm not even going to front. This was kind of a weird game. There's T-Top, Draymond's best friend. Now, you remember the words from Clay. I'm sure all of you have seen them by now, calling them bums and kind of taking some shots at Cleveland. He started off with a nasty leaner, but he would not shoot well on this night. Rodney Michael Hood was a different story. Rattles in the three to start the game. Remember, they fired Tyronn Lue a couple days into the season. Larry Drew looks like a mean motherfucker, let's face it. Held out for more money as the interim coach. Dealing with Dan Gilbert, I don't blame him, frankly. But I brought up the Clay comments, you know, that's what pettiness gets you, and they're a bunch of bums and all that, because Cleveland definitely seemed to have a bit of extra juice going into this game, meaning effort level and just, you know, they were turned up. There's the rookie Sexton popping the three, and like so many of these young athletic guards, that's the question. But I knew I loved this kid when I saw this in Summer League. Look at the flex on Josh Hart. So you combine his physical attributes with crazy intensity and competitiveness. And then I read a story about him getting up at like 4 a.m. before school as a 10-year-old to go practice. So you combine all those things, and as long as Sexton stays healthy, I think they're going to have a star on their hands. Not a superstar, but he'll be an all-star caliber guard at some point. Rodney Hood's a guy that he'll get you buckets, but he needs a lot of minutes and touches to do so. So many teams have tried to use him as like a guard off the bench, and he just doesn't operate well that way. But heavy minutes and heavy touches, he will get buckets. Steph didn't seem to miss in this first half. Splashes the three, but you see Cleveland out to the early lead. Clay got his big boy pants on, the rookie. I think maybe the most entertaining thing to me during this game was how KD treated Chetty Osman as like one of his fans, somebody at one of his summer camps. And I like Chetty. I think he's a bit overzealous, and I think KD sensed that throughout this game. Look at Steph working the glass here, and then he's going to push the ball in transition. Iguodala getting the start again. We'll see if he starts Friday in Milwaukee, finishing along the baseline. But really early on, the story was Rodney Hood getting buckets, and Iguodala lets him go right. That's the scouting report. He's a strong left-handed driver, and he gets right and still finishes left. But Ig on the perimeter defensively, it looks rough. He looks like he's in pain, literally. KD playing the passing lanes and then finds Steph in mid. Look where he takes off from. Timing, footwork, finger roll. Cleveland, though, I think they're last in the league in assists, if I'm right. So what they do is they just try to push the ball and hope for the best. You see him out in transition here. And Tristan Thompson, you know he gets up. Draymond wasn't on the court, but he had a monster game. 14 points, 19 rebounds. He's another guy in the league that at the right value would be such an asset. I mean, he would never be on the Warriors given the history, I don't think. But could you imagine him as our 5? He would be dominant. But at $18 million a year, it's not happening. No team is going after him at that contract. These two tune-up games have been perfect for Steph because he's in absolute rhythm headed into this big matchup Friday. And here we talk about Chetty being overzealous. What that means is he's going to bite at every hesitation and every fake, and it makes it easy for a skilled offensive player like KD. But without Steph's three-point barrage towards the end of this first quarter, we would have been in quite a hole. With the effort level, the second chance points we were given, and the way Cleveland started off shooting, we needed all the splash god splashes early in this thing to keep contact with what appeared to be somewhat of an irritated Cavs team, if you will. Now, one thing about Durant, he almost triple-doubled. You see Bell get the block here. Look at this pass. He's getting much more accurate with his passing. And some of that is the Steph effect, right? The spacing, it's easier to make these passes with Steph on the floor. We got a little Marcus Derrickson appearance here. But what I really wanted to point out was KD switched his shoes here between quarters from blue to back to yellow tip. And I wonder if Nike instructs him to do that. They want him to show like multiple colorways in different games, or if it was just a superstitious thing. I don't know. Not sure why they doubled Nance there. I don't think he's a player you ever double, but he does what he does, and he hits the offensive glass, and it's more Hood at the rim. Now, just talking about Tristan and his lack of value due to his contract, Larry Nance is on the other end of the spectrum. I was shocked to find out he's only on a $2 million contract. How nice would he be coming off our bench? Now, you'd have to probably give up Jordan Bell or Damian Jones or one of these young guys. And in a way, he's kind of like a more mature Jordan Bell, right? He brings the same tools to the table, but he has much more experience and he's more consistent. You see him on the offensive glass again here, and Rodney Hood gets his what? third shot to rattle in. He's a 35% shooter on the season, not on this night. I love Livingston moving downhill. You can see he can penetrate and suck in the defense here. He gets Clay a look, but Clay misses the wide open Alfonso McKinney in the corner, and that's just a scorer's mentality. He gets to the line. More Nance Jr., and one of the reasons we probably wouldn't be interested in him is because of Alfonso McKinney. You know, a minimum deal, and he does a lot of the same things. Watch him switch here. This is not an easy switch. You see how he kind of hangs, and then he stays with Nance, and then watch him close out here in the corner. So I want to give him credit for, I think he fully understands our concepts at this point, and that's probably why Kerr has showed so much trust in him so soon, right? He's picking up all the concepts. And then Jerebko, I didn't know he was this good of a passer, but he had some dimes in this game. There's McKinney finishing. Coming off the foot injury, that's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see if he still had that explosiveness, and he appeared to have it. Now, Sexton has infinite belief. You can tell, right? He's got almost irrational confidence. I think that's the key to unlocking his jump shot, because the form isn't broken. Neither is this man's, burying the three. Now watch this right here. McKinney checking his foot here at a stoppage. Like, I didn't see any remnants of it hurting him, right? But you see him checking it. And I was like, uh-oh. Now, if I was coaching against Tristan Thompson, I would tell my guys to do a little bit of flopping, because he's so physical. He loves to grab and swing you out of the way, and he gets away with it a lot. You got to sell it. And Bell did a good job selling it there and got the offensive foul. Steph, that's just nasty. The devil's in the details. Watch how he turns within the hop. He turns his body within the hop, so boom, it's too late to close out. You always see him repping that out in the corners in practice sessions, right? Now, the final 3 minutes of this quarter may be the highlight reel of the season for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You saw 1-3, why not another one? And these kids don't lack confidence, right? But again, there's no pressure. No one expects them to win, and someone's got to shoot the ball. Sexton's like, well, I'm feeling contagious, right? Someone else hit a three, let me hit this one. Kind of rocks KD to sleep. I had mentioned Durant, you know, treating Chetty and these young guys with kind of no respect, like they were kids. And you could say it with like that, or you could say he just didn't play no defense, but he just didn't respect anybody's shot in this game, and he let everybody shoot from the outside. Steph answers with the three. I think he had 6 of them in this first half. But these are the type of things that happen when you give a team bulletin board material. That's why it's a no-no to do so. They lasered in like 4 or 5 threes in a row, and all of a sudden they had confidence in the lead. Sexton, heat check, he only needs one. Everything going right for the Cavs, and nothing could miss. So with time winding down, Rodney Hood, I don't even need to look. And honestly, I kind of enjoyed it, because at no point did I feel like the Warriors were in danger of losing this game despite the hottest shooting the Cavs have ever seen. I showed this play to show Iguodala trying to be kind of aggressive. Look at him take 2 shots in 1 possession and created them himself. So I thought that was interesting. So what did Looney do in his second start at center? He continued to ball out. He continued to do the little things and be in the right spot at the right time. There's the mid-range pool again. Now we're getting at least 1 a game, right? And I will say this, the Warriors defense, it wasn't that great in the second half. They were kind of just like, well, there's no way they're going to shoot as good as they did in the first half. And they kind of just let the law of averages play out. Now I want to hold it here. Now, if you can imagine Iguodala is Draymond or Boogie, with Looney's new shot, that guy's going to have to come up, and there's going to open up a pass right there on a switch, and we can get point blank looks at the rim. So I just hope that he continues to pull the trigger on that. More Steph, more 3 balls, and again, just look at the footwork. The footwork was so crisp. Any good shooter will tell you that's where it starts. More KD watching his summer campers coast to the rim. Good layup, kid. And shout out these fans showing up at Quicken Loans Arena. The hat placement needed a little work from the kid, right? But then I realized he was just trying to cover the Pornhub he had going mid-game. Maybe some anime action. I don't know. Too far out, too far. Watch this Hezzy. Just doing what he wants. Dump off Looney, the beneficiary. KD, 9 assists on the night. And ever since Steph got back, he low-key has been hunting for the big assist numbers. Watch Iguodala just get rocked back here. And you just, I know I've pointed this out several times, but you just never used to see him get blown by like that. And one thing I want to give Bell credit for, he had a quiet night, is he doesn't want to shoot it, but his passing is pretty accurate, right? He puts the ball on the money when he makes those reads and those passes at the middle of the floor. And then here he is out in transition, and I want to point something out, because usually he tries to spike that. That's a nice soft finger roll, controlled and safe. And then look at the body language going back to the huddle. It's no longer that chest up, kind of confident walk. It's head down, So he's definitely been humbled, and hey, maybe it's going to be good for the kid. 17 minutes, only 2 boards on the night, though. Backdoor, 2 hands. Jerebko, 5 assists on the night. Another thing to monitor moving forward in the last few games, KD's 3 balls picking up. 4 of them on this game. That's a great pass out in transition. Knocks this down, and he picked his spots offensively. And then watch this. This is the true gravity of Steph Curry here. Watch Sean uses Steph's gravity for the easiest basket of his season. All the way, because why? The rookie was too worried about that 30-footer from 30. KD, Jerebko, bang, bang. Those two seem to be building a really good confidence. And if you notice how well KD has been ending quarters, as you know, he wanted to get his average here. But I wonder if Draymond's taking note, because guys are giving him the ball, getting out of the way, and he's producing. So here we go, 5 seconds, give me the ball. He comes down. This one's from about 38 feet, taking a page from you-know-who's book. And look who couldn't be happier about it, right? So I'm just pointing that out. Like, Draymond, you may want to give him the ball here. Everybody else seems to be perfectly fine doing that. I was glad to see Quinn Cook hit double digits, as he had paid a guy to pretend to be a fan of his at this game. No, I'm messing around. So you know when Clay's struggling, the beginning of 4th quarter, he's going to go into straight chuckage mode. That was probably the worst shot attempt of the night for a Warrior. Out comes Cleveland in transition, and it's a single-digit game. Jordan Clarkson, life's a little different for him, I'm sure, in Cleveland than as a Laker. And then finally, he knocks one down here. And like Fitz had mentioned, they left him in a little late to find a rhythm, as he always ends up doing. Now watch this play here. This is how I get beat when I play in rec leagues. You see what happened to Looney right there? Because, you know, at 6'3", I always end up playing like the big guy, and that's what they do to me. They just hit me with the shoulder charge. Not all the time, but that's how I end up giving up buckets. More of Looney on the glass. And he's playing so well, and we're just seeing, you know, growth with him every week. I do wonder when Boogie gets back, you know, and we'll see how long it takes Boogie to get comfortable. But like down the stretches of games, is Kerr going to be, you know, more inclined to leave Looney out there than Boogie? It'll be an interesting thing to see moving forward. We were definitely guilty of taking our foot off the pedal at various moments in this game as Kerr stops it again. And I must say, this might have been the quietest 40-point performance I've seen from Steph Curry. And I think some of it was the atmosphere, right? It's really kind of dead there now that LeBron has left. But without this performance, we might have been in trouble the way Cleveland, you know, was getting the bounce of the ball, and really just kind of our overall lack of respect for them. Now, Tristan Thompson at the free throw line, that thing's definitely in parts. But here's the ironic thing, Draymond, don't talk about nobody shooting for him, bro. But he and Boogie having themselves a good time in matching goon fits. And I'll leave you with this. McKinney, it was nice to see him return. And you see the bounce, the offensive rebound, and it's just in time against a very athletic Milwaukee team. I'm glad we have him back for that. And this was hilarious to me. Colin Sexton had to be told by Larry Drew, like, hey, don't shoot it. But then didn't this remind you kind of like a 7-year-old when you leave something on the table, you're like, don't touch it, right? And it's super hard for them not to touch it. Look at Sexton. Like, it took everything in his body not to shoot that ball. I thought that was a funny little moment. But an interesting and more entertaining game than I expected on a Wednesday in Cleveland. But we all know the big matchup in this road trip, Milwaukee Friday. I'll hit y'all with a pregame live, and then hopefully we get some revenge on the road. I'm out, y'all.
So long as like